All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining again for part two. I have John here once again from Xima for advanced call center training. Once again, I'm just going to be his Vanna today, so we'll be answering questions that you may have in the chat. But John, I'm going to kick it over to you and let you get on your way. Thanks for hosting with me today and doing all the work, of course. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks, Jamie and Gabriella, and welcome everyone to the Advanced Contact Call Center Training with Xima. As mentioned, my name is John Florence, and I'm the SVP of Industry Solutions at Xima. So I've been with Xima for about 13 years now, been in the telecom contact center space a little over 20 years. Before Xima, I was with a partner that sold different on-prem systems, dealt with different contact center systems. We could talk about that in another life. I found once you're in telecom, you're in it for life. You never get out of telecom. But we're going to talk about a lot of exciting things here today. One of those, of course, is contact center. But just in case you weren't at our first webinar, we're going to do a quick license overview. So again, what are the different licenses available with the contact center that are now available to you? We're then going to go over product positioning, selling contact center, focusing a little bit more on the advanced applications. So we'll do a little bit of a live demo of voice plus multi-channel and workforce optimization, speech analytics, and workforce management. And the reason I want to go over those is that's where we've seen a lot of customers that are on the Netsapiens backend platform need more than what comes out of the box. Out of the box, and Jamie did a webinar on this a few months ago, maybe it's just been a few weeks, on the call center available within Netsapiens. For a lot of customers, that fits what they need. And so where our product, where we've seen a lot of people position it, is when they need voice plus something else, plus multi-channel. Voice plus workforce optimization, or voice plus speech analytics. And that's the great thing with this solution and how you'll beat a lot of the top competitors. You can mix and match those licenses. A lot of the other contact centers in the market, you have to go up tier. Every agent has to be on those licenses, even if you only need it for a certain set of agents. We'll then talk about the Xima customer success team and why that is so valuable to you as a partner. I've got Q&A at the end there, but you do not have to wait until the end. I like to run these similar to a style that Jamie runs hers when she's presenting. Feel free to jump on in. If you have questions, you want to ask about something, I don't believe everyone's muted, so I believe you can unmute, ask that question, totally open to that. Or again, feel free to ask the question in the question or the chat field within Zoom here. Okay.
John, I think they are actually locked. I don't think they can talk,
okay.
But we'll definitely, but if you have a question, put it in the chat. I'll grab it and stop John, and we'll pause a little bit, and I'll let him know there's questions available. So
perfect. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, no problem.
So from some just high level characteristics, this is a service. So there's no hosting that you have to do. Where we host it is in Google. So that piggybacks off of the Google resiliency, the redundancy. That's part of our SOC 2 compliance and ISO compliance. So every day it's taking backups in different geographical data centers throughout the different regions. So it has also got data sovereignty. So we install it, all your US-based customers, that data will not leave the US, but it will be backed up to other Google data centers throughout the US. The great thing with this application or this upgrade, think of it as an upgrade to the Netsapiens product. They can still use the same phones that they're using today. They can still use the same soft phones that they're using today, or they can use our WebRTC soft phone. Where that comes in is because they're doing the other channels. It then also has that interoffice dialing between UC and CC. That sounds like a small deal. Like, oh, don't all of them do it? They do not. Most of the time, sometimes you can't. I get on with customers that are on 5.9s or Genesis, nice in contact. And it's like 10-digit number dialing between the office and the contact center. They're really running as two disparate systems, which causes a lot of problems for customers. You won't have that here. Now, with the licenses, we have two what we'll call core licenses, basic and professional. Basic is your voice. So if they want more enhanced voice contact center, that's the basic license. Professional includes voice, plus web chat, email, and SMS. On top of either of those licenses, basic and professional, they can add workforce optimization. They can add workforce management. They can add speech analytics, or they can add CRM integration. Mix and match, pick the features that make sense to the business, or the process I have found that works for a lot of customers: crawl, walk, run. If you're talking to a customer today that's really going from like hunt groups on, let's just say, an on-premise system, maybe they have an old old Mitel, an old NEC. I heard they just announced their end of life for their on-prem system. So you're moving those to the cloud. If they're from a basic hunt group and they're like, oh, I want speech analytics and workforce management and all the bells and whistles, that's a big jump from hunt groups all the way up there. And I've seen in the industry and in my experience, it usually doesn't go well. And so I like to encourage those customers: crawl, walk, run. Let's just get you up to maybe that multi-channel contact center first, get that up and running. And then let's roll out the speech analytics, or then let's roll out the workforce optimization, and our customer success team is going to help with that. Here are the big three things we're going to improve with your customers on Netsapiens. So this will help you win net new business. This will also help your customers avoiding churn, meaning leaving to a different system. Number one, and these are three things. I talked about this on the last webinar, but this is important because odds are you're seeing the same things. These are the three big things that partners have told us over the years why they've lost customers. Number one is they just want better reporting than what comes out of the box with Netsapiens. The reporting's pretty good, but sometimes you have customers that needs more customization, more values, more options. You get that, and you can just do just that reporting option. Or they want, again, like I said, the contact center, voice plus something, voice plus multi-channel, voice plus WFO, speech analytics. I'm seeing speech analytics everywhere. You've got Dialpad that leads with it. RingCentral just announced their RingSense, and they're giving that to customers for free for 60 days. So that's having a burst in the market. Zoom leads with speech analytics, even if customers don't ask for it. And so you're going to get more and more customers asking about it. And so we'll go over that here today. And then the support and installation. This is where the big contact center companies fail. I talked to a lot of customers that are like, oh yeah, I spent 2 hours with them. They kind of gave me a quick crash course, and then it was up to me to figure it out. A lot of customers, that's not going to work, especially in your market where I bet vast majority of your customers they need someone there to provide that white glove treatment. And our customer success team does that. So we're going to address the three big reasons why you might lose customers or why you might not win a net new deal. Okay. And if you didn't watch the last webinar, I talked about a few use cases in that area of these three areas of one, how it helped partners win business or hold on to customers, as well as increased your ARR, because we all want to grow as a company. And that's what contact center can do, is it can help you grow by holding on to customers, increasing the ARR, and winning net new business. Okay. So the big thing I want to talk about when you're positioning the product, don't focus on contact center. Don't go to your customers and be like, tell me about your contact center. I would say the vast majority of the customers that use our service don't consider themselves a contact center, but they are focused on the customer service area. Okay. So there's some type of customer service business. These are the top verticals that use our solution. These are also the top verticals from Forbes of 2023 that are in customer service. They go hand in hand. Number one is healthcare for us. And we have specific trainings that we can provide your teams and documents and sell guides on how to sell to each of these different verticals. Okay, so if you want any of those resources, reach out to Jamie, reach out to your CAM. We can get you those resources on all these different verticals. What features matter to them the most? What challenges are they going through? But really, they're all focused on customer service. They also all have one thing in common for the most part. Their customer base is not tied to a contract. Think about it, healthcare. You tied to a contract? No. In fact, for Forbes, 60% of Americans in the US last year said they had a negative experience. 33% said they are finding a new provider because of that bad experience. So 1/4 of your business could be gone in healthcare by a bad business or bad customer experience. Finance, your bank. There's nothing holding you to that bank. You could take your money out and go open a new bank tomorrow if you wanted to. Same thing, manufacturing, retail. You can reach out to a lot of different options. Home, business services, HVAC, pest control. You can go anywhere. That's what a lot of these companies have in common. So customer experience is very important to them because that's how they win business. That's how they hold on to customers. Now, what can cause that bad experience? These are the top 5 challenges customer service industries are facing. Now, this can be expanded upon by vertical, and I might throw some healthcare examples out there for just a couple examples. But poor customer satisfaction, that's number 1. Obviously, you have a bad customer experience, a bad first impression, bad last impression. It could lead to a bad negative experience, which could lead the customer to go find a new solution, a new vendor, a new supplier, a new healthcare provider. Number 2, agent productivity and retention. This is big in a lot of customer service roles. It's also really bad in the healthcare space. 600,000 people resign in healthcare per month. And so there's constant turnover in the healthcare space. So if a company can find a way to hold on to those employees and be more productive at the same time, that's worth it to them. Now, when they roll out all these tools, the data's got to be accurate because they're answering to a higher body where they need to provide the information to justify technology, people, bodies. And then again, they need the right communication tools. So we're going to address how contact center can address all of these topics here, more particularly the Netsapiens plus Xima CCaaS solution. Okay, so poor customer satisfaction. Again, I threw out some healthcare ones. Here's just general numbers from Forbes in 2023 specific to just customer service. 89%, so I said healthcare was 60, 89% of consumers began purchasing from a competitor following a negative experience. That's just general customer service. 78% of consumers said they backed out of a deal because of poor customer service. So if you have a bad experience, there's a good chance you're going to lose that customer. So the solution, how can you help that customer experience? Again, usually it has to do with first impressions and last impressions. So first impression, meet the customer where they're at. Make it easy for them to communicate with you the way they want. Okay, and I actually have a few examples here of how this will help and some also research. Here's a chart that shows the different ways those different customer service organizations communicate with their customers. What the research shows from this report is voice and web chat. Those are the 2 channels that have been around the longest. They are shrinking slowly, but they are shrinking. Less and less people use phone calls to communicate. Here's an example for you. I have a landscape project. I'm actually doing it I reached out yesterday and today. The company I was working with, they told me they're going to pass. So I needed to reach out to a few more landscaping companies. I filled out 4 contact us forms on a website last night. Every single one of them responded to me via text. Every single one. Not one actually called me. I just put my phone number in. I didn't say call me or text me. They all text me because it was convenient for me. It was easy. And, I was able to schedule a few appointments from just doing that communication, that SMS text, schedule an appointment. That's used very well in healthcare as well. There's other things that we can do in the healthcare space to help those customers. So again, that multi-channel communication, customers might not be thinking about it, but this is where you can provide that value-added service to them. Be more of a consultant. Because again, it's going to just upsell them. And as you add on these additional features, it makes you a lot stickier to that customer as well. Okay, so let me show you a few examples of what I mean by this. Okay, so we're going to address that multi-channel communication. We're going to address some queue callback features. We're going to address the communication aspect. So here is our admin interface. Okay, here is our contact center interface. And I was worried about that. I put in a few SMS texts and chats, but I think Nick may have logged in and got those. So if an SMS comes in, much like, I filled out a form that comes across as an SMS. I have a question about my invoice. Okay, that can come across to the agents and it's going to show in real-time displays. Or we could throw the customer on a chat bubble. I mentioned it came to Nick here. Sure enough, it did. He might have joined us here. He's on my team. Sorry, Nick, if you got that. So I'll fill it out again. So we can provide the customer the chat bubble. It's very easy for them to deploy. We literally give them the code and say, hey, throw this on your website. And then you have options from a management perspective. What do you want to do if agents aren't available? Throw them in a queue, offer an email option. How do you want to communicate with them? And again, agents are going to have that visibility right here. The other thing that we can do, of course, is route email options. Email options are a great way. Just because they got an email doesn't mean that's how they want to respond to that email. The use case I've seen email routing be beneficial to organizations is just like this. Well, come over here. Almost every single company has a page like this. Some sort of form. That's a contact us. I don't know this for sure, but I'd be willing to bet, this is RingLogix, we're on here with them. I would be willing to bet this comes across as an email. Well, who does that go to? Who handles that? A lot of companies have that. And I hear the same things. Oh, it kind of goes through distribution and they all kind of monitor it in Outlook, or they monitor it in Gmail, or maybe I have one person assigned to it. Let's distribute that. Let's have it all go to the agents from this interface. So now I can start handling all my different communications, from SMS to web chats to the other channels. Here they all come. Okay, so I just took all of them as a single agent. I've got a web chat going on here. I got an email. Here's my email. Okay, again, good use case for the contact us page. Because again, they might not want an email. They may have given me their phone number here, just like I filled out. You know what? I'm going to turn this into, I'm going to say, sent text. So I can respond to that, my boss, and say, you know what? I sent a text instead of replying to the email here. So I come in here, new SMS, plug that number in. And now I can fire that off and be like, how can I help you? So you could turn these different communications into the different channels. If I wanted to make it a phone call, I could. Okay. Now, one big thing that people have asked for us a lot on the Netsapiens platform, you have those DND reason codes, but you can't really run historical reports on them. Here you have the DND reason code. So agents can put themselves in the appropriate state. So I could say, oh, you know what? I'm doing a webinar demo. So my boss can see that in real time. So now you can see that DND webinar state. There I can see Nick's on a phone call here. And if I wanted to actually monitor Nick, I could start listening in on his phone call. I could whisper. I could join that call. I won't actually do that here. I'll go ahead and end the call monitoring. But if you need to take agents out of that state, so not only can you see it in real time, it's tracking it. You can run that in all the different reports that you want. Okay, so that's why we call the supervisor view, gives the supervisors control over the agents, the calls, and the activities. So I can come back over here. I'll just end this SMS chat. Here's my live one. And maybe I want to be like, okay, sure. How can I help? And if I respond to this and then I decide to log out, that'll just requeue, go to the next agent, and they can see what was been said there. If I want to end this communication thread, I can end it on all my different communications. And SMS, web chats, it happens. Maybe over here, here's that web chat. I need to chat with Nick. Maybe that's who I was chatting with earlier, but he wasn't available when I first got this. Okay, just like a phone call, I can transfer this. Okay, I'm going to yep, Nick's available. Let me send that to him. Or I can send it to John R. Okay, now John R is also me. This is where that communications comes in. MS Teams is big. 80% of businesses use Microsoft. I hear customers all the time that's like, how can we integrate with Microsoft? This is a great answer to integrate with Microsoft. The client lives inside of Microsoft. It's got single sign-on with Microsoft. It also has bi-directional presence with Microsoft. So if I were to change my state here, there I can see I've got a call in the IVR that's ringing to me. I'm going to miss that because I'm doing a demo and I actually don't know who that is. So I'll go back in webinar. But I can push these states over to Xima. So again, it helps that communication. Same thing. If I were to change my state in Xima, it pushes it to Microsoft. So now everyone in the organization can see who that is. Okay. And I'll go ahead and miss that call. Okay. You can auto log the agent out based off of a missed call. So you get to determine, do I want to auto log them out for a set time period? It'll log me back in 30 seconds. Most customers set that to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So you can pick that here. And that might actually be Nick doing a demo because he's on here. So yeah, he might have hung up, but I'll go ahead and place a call into queue because this is one thing I want to show. You can keep using the auto attendants within Netsapiens. So it's a very seamless transition, moving them from the Netsapiens call center to the Xima contact center. Don't even have to adjust the auto attendants. I'll go ahead and go to, we'll do First Horizon, queue, number 3. And I could see that over in my wallboard if I want to go back to my wallboard here. And it presents, and I can see the skill it comes in on, the tag, which is from Netsapiens, and I can answer that. Okay, so this, I'm using it as a WebRTC softphone. I can put it on hold. I can transfer it. This is where, again, you can beat a lot of those bigger contact centers because it really acts as a single system. If I want to transfer this over to, again, other agents, now I have no one available, but other queues and departments, I can. Or over to non-contact center agents, such as extension 257, just a user on my UC system. I'll do a blind transfer. Again, that's ringing over here. I'm also that user. I'll answer that. And here I'm on a mobile phone connected to Netsapiens. They can also be using the Snap mobile app, okay, or the desktop client or the cell phone app. Again, you have that inter-office communication. If I wanted to send this back over to the contact center, it's still a 3-4-digit extension dial. Okay, and I can, again, put it on hold, take it off of hold. I'll go ahead and end that call. We're going to track all of that. So you get a full experience in cradle to grave, which customers love. So the communication, inter-office communication, Microsoft Teams integration, the different channels, I'll just say, thanks for watching today. It's all a seamless transition, which we're then going to monitor in the reports, in the wallboards, which you can customize to be whatever the customer wants. Unlimited wallboards. Same with reports and cradle to grave. So it just logged all those different calls that I did. It's got them all here. There's the call I just did. That is the auto attendant from Netsapiens. That's the name. Oh, it went over to the Xima queue. Went to Agent John. He then transferred it over to myself, but a non-agent, different extension. I do that for these demos. And there, sure enough, I can see all the different calls that Nick made. My emails. What happened on that email? What happened on the web chat or the SMS communication? I can view all those logs and transcripts, so I know exactly how this customer's been helped and handled. Okay, you want your recordings? They're over here on the right-hand side. This can include both the contact center recordings as well as the office recordings. So it really feels and functions like a single platform. But I don't want to just show the voice and multi-channel. Again, a lot of times what we see customers wanting are these advanced applications. Well, why do they matter? How can they help? They help dramatically in agent productivity and retention. I've talked about there's high turnover in a lot of positions. If you were on the pre-call, I was asking Jamie and Gabriella, I couldn't remember where they're located. They're all spread throughout the US. That's very common for a lot of businesses now. That remote work is very real. So they can hire, and people and employees know they can get hired anywhere. So it's not like, oh, if I quit, I'm limited to my market. I can get a job anywhere. So holding on to those employees is really important. How do you do that? The solution is automation and AI. Allow me to explain. Workforce optimization. Okay, what is that really going to help with? Well, one way that you hold on to employees is just job satisfaction, feeling like they're being recognized for the job that they do. And when they need assistance, they can easily get that from management. The problem is management can listen to about 5% of calls. That's about it. You think about it, supervisor oversees 8 agents, even if 8 agents on the phone all 8 hours a day, or even 1 hour a day each. If the supervisor spent all day, they could get through those agents' calls. But most supervisors, they're wearing multiple hats. And so what studies show, they can listen to 5%. So if you're going to take the time to listen to 5%, you want to get the most out of that 5%. How you do that is automate collaboration and coaching tools. So that way employees can coach them, you can coach them up. That's one of the biggest tools to help in the healthcare space specifically. So let me give you a glance of what that looks like here. So it's just accessed over here on our advanced applications, the quality management. I'm going to slide it over here. I have it open already. So we'll just bring it over here. Has its own login page because agents can have a view as well as different supervisor access. We'll come back to this dashboard in a second, but the first thing that this is going to allow management to do, which sometimes you might get requests of this. Hey, you can record calls. Can I also listen or watch the agent's screen? You can do that. The call recording with quality management takes the recording, but can also record the agent's screen. So now I'm not only listening to the call, I can see what they were doing on it. And as you can see, it can record multiple monitors. As many monitors as they have. Usually 1, 2, or 3 is what I see, but technically if they had a 4th or 5th, it could record it and they would just show over here. With this auto turned on, it's just going to follow the agent's cursor as it goes through the call. Now, supervisors management can come in here. Oh, it looks like it's in a transition here, so I'll come back. Or I can highlight areas and add a note. So maybe I want to add a note as supervisor doing a webinar. The reason why notes are valuable is you can search for those. If you can't remember where the call is, oh, but I remember I put the word webinar in there, it can find those calls for me. I can also add voice annotations. So if I'm later on the call and I want to add a voice note, I don't want to type it out, I just want to put a voice note in here, you can add those voice notes in here. But the value comes in over here on these evaluations. Again, if you're going to take the time to listen to the calls, this is one of those key questions you can ask customers when you're like, hey, do you record your calls? And you're doing those designs? And they say, yes. Okay, perfect. Why? What are you doing with those recordings? A lot of times customers are like, oh, we'll go in and we'll listen to about 4 or 5 of them each week. Perfect. How do you track what happens on those? A lot of times I hear customers, oh, like we got a Google Doc that we keep track of. That's messy. No one really likes that. And then it's kind of, you're still vulnerable to error or someone accidentally deleting it. So you can build out your questionnaires based off the different types of calls. So the different queues, the different lines. You can build out different evaluations. So maybe if I were to have my boss evaluate this webinar today, did John show off quality management? Yes, he did. That's a very yes/no question. How was his webinar? That was unacceptable. Or hopefully he would say, it's excellent. So you could do sliding scale questions. You could do pick list options. You could do freeform text options. That's great. That's going to give you your evaluation, which you can run reports on. There's additional reports on that, so you can track if agents are improving or if they're getting worse. You could throw it up in the dashboard. But where the workforce optimization comes in, you're, again, optimizing the workforce. It's through automation. So if an agent does something poorly, like I say, this is unacceptable, or I'm going to give John a 3. The agents aren't doing things you would hope intentionally bad. Usually they're just doing the best that they know, but you want to coach them up. But again, time is an issue in all business. So automate those trainings. If the supervisor says, oh, John needs, to learn the product a little bit better before he does webinars, I could have that trigger a training. The customer can trigger and build their e-coaching modules. So they can upload, think of it as a repository of training. So like we could have all the different webinars that RingLogix has ever done in here. So when they hire a new employee, go watch these. Or, maybe Gabriella is talking to a customer. She's like, oh yeah, we don't have anything on quality management. Jamie's like, oh yes, we do. Scores that call. It'll send Gabriella a training. It's like, here's how to demo or show quality management. Those trainings can be things like video files. So again, this recording, PDFs, URLs. What a lot of customers do is they download the recordings in the screen capture. Here's a great example of how to deal with this call. Go watch this agent, how they did it. And you want to make sure people pay attention so you can build quizzes. Make sure they watched the training and actually got the information that you want out of it. And those quizzes, you can also have reports. The other value, again, burnout. Not a number one, but a top reason why people leave. And a lot of times burnout, it's the easiest thing to solve. It's the easiest thing to solve. You just have to recognize the employee for the job they're doing. They just don't feel appreciated. So that's the opposite of e-coaching. You can create a reward system. You can create contests. This is also known as gamification. So, okay, based off of the top performers, they're going to get points. Or each agent can be individual. You don't have to do contests and just tell the agents once they hit a certain level, they get an X amount of points, which could be redeemed for rewards, which also show up in the wall boards and in the displays. So as a manager, if I wanted to see in here, here's my team members that have trainings. I need to follow up with Jennifer. She's overdue for a training. Here's my top performers month over month for the year. Or here's my top performers for my May contest. Looks like Brandy's in the lead. Again, I don't have any points, so maybe I need to work my way up to get some of those points so I can come in and get whatever rewards. Again, the customer gets to pick these. That's workforce optimization. High value, again, if they're scoring these calls now, but they don't have a tool for it, easy sale. Easy sale. Screen capture, another reason why. Or again, if turnover is a problem, this can really help with that. Now, to improve the customer experience. This is going to improve the customer experience by improving your agents. But you're still vulnerable back to this error here. Each company is still vulnerable to the fact that, okay, John, I'm listening to the calls. It's still only 5%. You've maximized that 5%, but it's still only 5%. That's why speech analytics is such a big buzzword right now. AI is a big buzzword. The number one AI tool I see being promoted is speech analytics. I want to ensure that they're using these proper positive words. I want to ensure they're following the particular process. Process is huge in the healthcare space. By failing to follow process could be the reason why a patient missed an appointment. Oh, you never sent them the address to our location. They can review all that. The AI speech analytics can evaluate 100% of your calls and not take any time. Okay, so here is the AI speech analytics. Now, one important thing to note with our AI speech analytics, it includes workforce optimization. So everything I just showed on the quality management, it's included in that. But then it also, so if they still want that manual coaching, but then it will do it for them. Again, the emotion, sentiment analysis, that's a big thing. People want to know about it because the reality is if you're like, oh, I record calls, so if there's ever a negative experience, well, how do you know if there's a negative experience? The agent, I can promise you, the agent's not going to tell you, oh, I had a really bad call. No, it's usually the customer felt so upset they took the time to notify you of a bad experience. But what about the people that don't? They just get frustrated and they move on. You could keep having that problem. So you can look at the different agent emotion. You could drill this down by agent if you want. Okay, which of my calls are the agents having positive? Which ones are having negative? And it's going to show this. I'm just looking at the last month here, but I could show this for really over any time period. If I want to look at my client emotion, that's the one I really care about, my customer. That gets a little bit worse. I'm now sitting around a 65-35 split. Well, again, why are these calls being flagged as negative? So you have this cool dashboard here, allows you to drill down into those negative calls. So when I clicked on that, there's all my 287 calls that got flagged as negative. I get some insights in here. Sometimes on those other competitive products, you might hear the phrase, oh, they're showing you insights. That's what it is. You know, how much silence time was there? How much overtalk was there? Any saturation? That's what it's giving you from the insights perspective. You can then click into any of those calls and you can see the transcript and where it flagged it as negative. It's doing it based off of keywords as well as the tone. So anywhere you see red, it was negative. If you want to listen to a certain part of the call, you just click on it. It starts playing from there. I'm going to pause that because it's playing in my headset at the same time. So I can see the transcript. I can hear exactly how our agent handled this. And in this call, yeah, sure enough, the agent was flagged as negative. Okay, again, based off of the way they were talking to the customer.
And John, when you say tone, you mean tone of their voice?
Tone of the voice, inflections. Yeah, it's taking into account, Jamie, two things, specific words, but as well as the tone of their voice. So here, when you can kind of see where it bolds it, it's kind of flagging some of the words or the sentence, but some of these, like right here, there's not really a phrase that was said that was negative. So that one's all about the tone.
Tone.
Yep. Here's the really cool thing I like, the application scores, where it just looks for specific things about the call. These are custom built for each customer. For example, here, this one's got compliance where it's verifying the name and the social. So I can see, oh yeah, they verified the name. And if I click on that, it'll highlight it where they said it. May I have your name, please? Sure enough, but they never verified the social. But your customers might not have social. Maybe it's like if they're using Salesforce, may I have your case number? So I have something in there where the agent asked for the case number. Did they greet the caller? Did they ask, how can I help you today? How may I help you? Sure enough, they did. But, they used positive words. They were responsive, but they didn't show active listening. Again, that's looking for specific keywords or phrases that this customer has identified. You build those up here, and you could have different applications custom built for the different types of calls. This allows you to drill down more. This is, again, where the value comes in because you need to know who to work with. A lot of times, your agents are probably doing everything you want. So, for example, if I pick on last week, we'll pick on compliance here. Okay, everyone's verifying the name. Everyone's asking who they're talking to, but only 23% of the time did I verify the social. Who? I don't need to worry about Deborah. Deborah's doing a fantastic job. She did it on 36 out of 36 calls that day. Marty did okay, 47 out of 110, but goodness gracious, the rest of my team is failing on getting the social security. Why? I can now drill into that. Or if I want to get a different category here, it's got a few more sections in it. Again, who do I need to work with training? Again, I don't need to work with Matt. I could just send Matt a quick message. Matt, saw your report. You're doing awesome. Keep up the good work. That goes such a long way, and it just told me what I need to do. But Gabby, hey, Gabby, let's work with your active listening. And at the same time, I'm going to train you, Melinda, and Brandy. The rest of the agents are doing okay. They're all doing great at being responsive and for the most part, positive words. So I now know where I need to focus. And again, these are all just process things, specific keywords and phrases. Okay, so that's our AI speech analytics. There's the last thing I want to talk about, workforce management. This is forecasting, scheduling. Now, with workforce management, you're getting into a little bit bigger of a customer service environment. There's two things to look for workforce management. One, they have typically 25 agents or higher. I generally don't see a lot of customers below this pulling the trigger. But even if they're above 25 agents, they might not be the right fit. The other big key indicator, their agents are spread across multiple time zones. So scheduling, different shifts come into play. And oftentimes the manager is managing agents in different time zones. They're not going to work a 10 or 11-hour shift every day. So they want a good report to show agents are logging in when they're supposed to, they're doing what they're supposed to, they're in the right queues. And am I properly staffed? This is, again, another great tool for the agent productivity and retention. It's actually one of the best tools to show to improve productivity and retention, employees staying, because without a forecasting tool, what companies often do is they just, our agents can handle it. They don't want to throw bodies at it. They just load more up on the agents. Well, this is going to help you determine, are you properly staffed or not? Okay, so each customer can customize their dashboard. But what this is going to do is it's going to analyze the queue data, the groups of all the different channel types. So this can be a voice only. Here I've got voice for 2 queues, but I'm also looking at an email channel and a web chat channel, but I can do SMS. So sometimes customers ask, what kind of impact does chat have on my business? Okay, well, let's look at it. Over the course of a week, you're going to get about somewhere between 50 and 80 chats a day. For some reason, you take a lot of chats on Friday. Okay, or if I want to start looking at my other channels, okay, email really balances that out. When your emails are less Friday, but they're higher on everywhere else. What about the phone call queues? Well, that dramatically changed everything. I actually logged into a live client here, and this happens a lot. This is a healthcare customer. Their busiest day, week over week, it's like clockwork, is Mondays because they're closed Thursday and Friday. This isn't the big hospitals. So people have stuff happen or they're closed Friday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. Wow. And so they're building up calls. Monday hits, huge call volume. But without a tool like this, what most companies do is they staff for the busiest day. So they staff for that Monday. And with these two pieces of data, this top chart is showing the number of calls, emails, and chats you're going to get. Again, if we were just focusing on calls, we can do that. Here's how many calls you're going to get. Here's your average handle time for those calls. With these two pieces of information, we can then tell you, here's how many agents you need to maintain your SLA. And so most companies, what they'll do is they'll staff towards their busiest day. Well, really, that puts them overstaffed on Tuesday, big time on Wednesday and Friday, and a little bit on Thursday. And so there's your ROI justification. It lets you know when you need bodies to help cover the phones. Okay, or to deploy features like queue callback. Maybe I don't need queue callback the rest of the week. Maybe we just have it running on Mondays. It's the only day we need it. Okay, now that's one cool thing. It allows them to know, okay, based off my call volume, my chat, email, here's how many bodies I need to just maintain a good customer experience. Because again, long wait times is a big reason why people have a bad first impression. They're frustrated before they even get to talk to anybody. This can help eliminate that. So your staff to be able to handle that volume. But the other value that it will do is it will build the schedules for the customer. So supervisors don't have to spend time being like, okay, well, who do I have log in at what time? It'll build them for them. It'll put the agents based off of their time zone, the different shifts, when they're supposed to start, when they can take their lunches, when they can take their breaks, or whatever other activities they have throughout the day. So a good example in healthcare, a lot of times I see nurses will help cover the phone sometimes, but they also have floor responsibility. And so this will break it out. Okay, here's when you're on the floor. Here's when I need you to come help cover the phones. Okay, and it will let the customer know, when they might be overstaffed. Or here, you're going to start running into a problem. The system recommended you have 42 agents. You're going to be behind by about 11 because you only assign 31. What does that mean? On average, you're going to have about 6 calls waiting in member services and 5 calls waiting in member services. And this is showing in 15-minute intervals. So you can kind of see we don't start to recover until about 1 o'clock. So from 10 to 1, our patients are going to have a longer wait time. Okay. And again, it shows the schedules for a week, a day, a month. Agents can do shift swapping. It's a very powerful tool. Again, a forecast and schedule is only as effective as long as agents follow that schedule. So they get real-time adherence. They can break this down by campaign, by teams, by departments, by skills. I'll just look at the team here. And so I can see, how well is everyone following the schedule. Over here, I get a report. For the most part, everyone's above 90%. If they're off, I can see that right here. When they see these red bars underneath, like right here, I can see Veronica was a little late. She was supposed to be logged in. She logged in about 10 minutes late here. Here, Cindy took her break about 15 minutes when she was supposed to. Now, maybe that was approved, or maybe you want to build a buffer on there. You can build a tolerance onto these. So that way, if they take their break 10 plus or minus 10, 15 minutes, that's fine. And here you can see that tolerance taking an effect. So everyone's score is up a much higher. So again, each customer can customize it. Okay, just doing a little spot check here. Here you can hopefully see there's a lot of different things available within the contact center. Okay, again, the advanced apps, things you want to start looking for. We have a minimum of 10. You'll want to follow that as well, because just under that just generally doesn't pull the trigger. I'd focus more on all these advanced apps, 15 to 20 agent range. That's where I typically see companies pull the trigger. But again, they like picking a solution they know they can grow into. Now, again, there was a lot there. Let's address the 5th problem, technology stack. What's the right solution at the right time? How does all this get deployed? You have supporting you Xima's customer success team. They're our onboarding team. So you don't have to become experts in really any of these products. Your team doesn't have to worry about, oh, what do I do from a support? We'll take care of them. And our support team and onboarding team has an NPS score of 82 in 2023. So world-class NPS score. They do a phenomenal job. They'll take good care of your customers, and you'll be right there along with them every step of the way. Okay, this is typically how we break out and design our pro services. Again, you'll get all these quotes from Jamie, but these are our recommended MSRP pricing for the contact center. Okay. But what each of your team gets is a customer success manager. The reason why that customer success manager is so critical and why your customers will love it. Again, a lot of times these features are new to them. They don't know how to use them. So that customer success manager, along with our deployment team, which includes an executive sponsor and an onboarding consultant, we're going to do the heavy lifting. We're going to do project kickoff with you and the customer, discuss goals, timeframes, requirements. We'll then provide our online project management tool where they'll tell us, okay, here's my agents, here's my queues, here's my call flows, workflows. We'll then build it all. Our team's going to build it all. We'll then provide coaching and training to the customer before going live. Once the customer is signed off, we'll set a go live date. Yep, this looks good. Let's go live at this date. This can go hand in hand with a brand new Netsapiens deployment. We do that all the time. We also can, again, deploy this without having any disruptions to a current customer on Netsapiens. Do that all the time as well. Prior to go live, we're going to do real live test calls. So we'll take a number, make sure everything's routing properly, emails, SMS, before actually throwing it to the live numbers. And then they're there that day 2 support. But this is where that customer success manager is so critical. They don't leave, day 2 and say, oh, if you have any support questions, call us. Again, I talk with customers that are on 5.9s, Nice in Contact, Genesis, TalkDesk, big Gartner Magic Quadrant companies, and they're looking for a new solution. And oftentimes I'm like, well, wait, what do you not like about your current system? And they'll give me a wide variety of different reasons. And the biggest thing about all of them is they just don't know how to do what they need to do. So we address that problem with our post implementation. Our customer success manager meets with the customer once a week, more if needed, to provide things like additional training for the first month. Address questions. Let's review the wallboards. Let's review the reports. Make sure everything is functioning as designed. You don't have to call and support. We'll find a problem if there's a problem before they even do. But they can reach out to that customer success manager whenever they need through the life of the agreement. As long as they have the services, they can keep reaching out to that customer success manager. Hey, I need to make a change to this report. Hey, I need to make a change to this call flow. Our customer success manager likes to sync up with them every 90 days. Because business and needs changes. We're going to also deploy a bunch of new features. We're constantly developing and adding new things. If you want a question and have questions about our roadmap, again, get with Jamie, get with your CAM. Our CAMs would be happy to get on a call with you, give you more enhanced training specific to different verticals if you want, as well as review our roadmap so you know what's coming. And that's kind of our next steps here. I want to leave questions. So that's just kind of a recap.
Yeah. John, Ethan was asking if you could
Yeah.
show that MSRP slide again. And just so you know, Ethan, John will send Gabriella and I a copy of his presentation, so it will be available in the follow-up email that we send out. But there you go, sir.
Yeah. Ethan, this is our suggested retail for the implementation. This isn't like the monthly fees. This is the implementation costs. Again, you can see it's a full turnkey white glove treatment, and this should come in well under a lot of, again, any other CCaaS solutions that they see.
Yeah, and Ethan, once you reach out to your success manager, if you have a potential customer, we will connect you with the CAM that's in your area from Xima. We do a warm handoff, so it'd be a call between your PGM or maybe even myself, the Xima CAM that's in your area, and we would, talk through your customer. What your Xima CAM will do is produce you a quote. We'll come in, help out. That quote will come over to RingLogix. We will put your pricing on that. That way you can make some decisions and even further talk to your CAM about they'll help handhold you through maybe suggested retail price.
Yep. And that's this third bullet point here, Jamie. Great point. Follow the Xima sales process. Contact center is a little bit different than UC. What I mean by the sales process, again, think of us as an extension of your sales team. You don't even have to get on and be like, this is Xima. You'd be like, this is John, my contact center expert. That's it. And I'll just do my job. I'll do the demonstration. But then, like Jamie said, what we'll do after that is we'll put together a design based off of, what we found out during the demonstration. We'll then provide a quote over to the RingLogix team. They can then provide that, pass that on to you. But don't leave us at that point. What we like to do following a demo, get the pricing to you, have a discovery call with you as the partner. Make sure, again, your pricing is in line. I know all the competitors. I know where they're going to come in at. So if it's a competitive deal, I can give you an idea of where they're going to come in at. So I can tell you where you should price your solution at based off their needs. Okay. My recommendation, of course, you can put it at whatever price you want, but we'll give those recommendations. But then following a demo, we like to have another call with the customer. Once you have that pricing ready, where we can go through that pricing together. You'll talk all the numbers, but what we then like to talk about is what we call a solution review. A lot of things happen during a demo. A lot of things happen. There's a lot there. I just kind of went through a demo. It's a lot to it. And so the solution review is now people have time to digest. We can review anything that they couldn't remember, but then we talk about here's how we'll get this implemented. And that goes a long way instilling confidence in the customer. And then we like to just schedule those sync calls. Okay, after we've done the solution review, what our research shows, 84 point something percent of customers should pull the trigger within 30 to 60 days following that demonstration. So odds are after a demo, that's the most likely time you'll win. Now, there are those circumstances where, oh, you know what, I'm budgeting for 2025. That happens. But a lot of times it's become a big enough pain that they're reaching out for a new solution now. And so we have that sales process dialed in. Like Jamie mentioned, get with sorry, Jamie, you don't call them CAMs. What did you call them? GSM?
Oh, we call them PGMs, Partner Growth
PGMs.
Managers. Yep, PGM.
Yep. Get with your PGM. We can get you on with our team. We can go over that whole sales process again, go over more in-depth training, reach out to the PGM, be happy to, schedule demos for customers today. However, we can help enable you to win business because your success is our success. We're a very channel-focused organization.
Yeah, and we've already started this, gang. So like the way it's kind of worked thus far, at least, which we like, is your RingLogix team member will introduce you to your Xima team member, right? Sometimes it's been just questions. Sometimes our partners have a direct prospect that they're looking to get on. Then the Xima Cam has reached out to John or Nick to do demos for either partner or directly with partner's customer with the partner involved. So far we've got a couple of them rolling already. So it's been really seamless. Xima's very involved. They support their own product, right? They're super their own cheerleader for it. They don't just expect you guys to go out and sell it without their help. So it's been really great that way.
Yep.
That's my
Elias had a question. How do we present ourselves, i.e. our brand, or that we partner up with Xima? Yeah, great question. So on a demonstration, I never really will ever click on this that shows that. Too many brands out there, too many white labels to kind of do that. And so we'll just kind of show this same interface. We'll never really show the login page, which doesn't have the brand. Of course, you do have that white label and branding option on there, which you'll have for your customers. So that's how we typically avoid that. Be like, this is part of our brand. It's powered by Xima. If you want to say that, again, a lot of partners don't go into that level of detail. This is just my contact center solution. This is the manufacturer. You could just say this is the manufacturer, the software developers that wrote this contact center. That's the branding. From a pricing perspective, the pricing that we have on the webpage, that's the suggested retail price. And we did that to help with that market fit, where we're fitting in the market, more from a strategy perspective. It doesn't include, and we made that change, it doesn't include anything that's layered on top of the RingLogix or Netsapiens side of the pricing. And so it's just kind of our suggested retail price. I would say let me express it this way. If you start pricing it higher than our suggested retail plus your Netsapiens, you're now going to start getting into that same range of nice and contact, which we beat them a lot of times with that pricing strategy and our mix and match license design. If you start getting into that range, that's where you could get mixed results.
Yeah, and Elias, don't forget that suggested retail that John's showing you, right? You're getting it at a wholesale price. So, I have pricing. I just provided it to the partner growth team, that we can actually give you. So I know that Anthony is your PGM, Elias. So if you want to talk to him about pricing, or even better, have Anthony set up a call with the CAM in your area. You're in Florida, so I believe that's Dave. So we can get a call together with you and Dave, but we can provide you pricing. So what you're seeing on Xima's website is not actually your cost. So you're still going to make points of margin on this, if that helps. Question is, if someone we tell powered by Xima, they might go, oh yeah, they might. I mean, yeah, they might. Oh, John, you're muted. But
Yep. And so that's where how we address that, Elias, is that's just the contact center. That again doesn't include any minutes or the licensing that you're doing on the RingLogix or Netsapiens side. And so that's why you can be like, it's going to be higher. That's just the contact center. Perfect. Okay. I think that makes sense there.
cool. Got it. Awesome. Well, gang, we have a couple minutes, or like a minute. Any other? Oh, now we got some. Do we have more questions here? Let's see here. No, I just didn't hit done. There we go. Well, John, I think that was awesome. I was super impressed. I'm rarely ever silent, even when muted. And I was, loving everything that I saw. In my head, I was trying to think how I could fake out the speech analytics, because sometimes I talk to my dog in like a really good tone, but I say bad things. So I'm interested to see how that works.
Yeah, well, and I had a customer, just on that note, I had a customer down in Australia that's like, hey, well, can we take out curse words? Because will it flag curse words? I'm like, probably. And I'm like, why do you want to take out curse words? And he's like, oh, down in Australia, if we curse at someone on the phone, it's a term of endearment. He's like, it's part of our natural language. I'm like, okay, you can take certain words out if you want to adjust that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I need to move to Australia, John. I think I'd be a hit there if that's
I would be there with you, except for the snakes. I can't handle the snakes.
Too much. Stay inside. I just want somewhere where I can swear and it becomes an endearment. That's the main draw for me.
Oh, Jamie cares about me.
So guys, when I swear at you, that means I care about you. I'm gonna pretend to be Australian. Just kidding. I don't really swear at anybody. Elias, we have marketing collateral we can get you. I already have the whole kit, so I'll let Anthony know that you're interested in that, and we'll get that over to you. There's a lot of cool stuff to choose from. I have the whole kit. They have all their branding, Xima does, and all the collateral that can be customized. So we will get that to you. Well, great. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. John, if you don't mind, can you send your deck to Gabriella and I so we can get it to the group and the RingLogix masses and the webinar link? So,
I'll send that here now.
I appreciate everybody.